Winds, wooden planes, I didn't call into that. Weather. I got 6 o'clock. We'll call this regular meeting to order, July 8th, 2024, council chambers. Prayer. Dennis, you want to give a prayer?
Dear Father, help us with our decisions tonight. Thank you for the nice weather that you have given us. And just continue to keep our employees, fire department, and police department. Ask us in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor and protect society. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. We have any? Let's see, this will. Moved the consent agenda for the minutes of June 24th, 2024 regular council meeting and approved minutes from July 1st, 2024 special council meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda for both meetings.
And a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not? All yay?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Move on to regular agenda. Any public comment? No public comment. Okay. Item number 2, discuss and accept the resignation of Ginger Clevenger, board member on the EDC board.
I don't know if you need me or not, but just to give you a report, we did. Ginger did turn in a resignation to the EDC. We presented it at our last board meeting last Monday, and it was accepted. We did elect a new temporary secretary until October, but we did accept her resignation. So that's back to the board, to council to do what they want with it. Okay. Any questions or anything? Okay.
I have a motion.
Make a motion to accept Ginger Clevenger's resignation from the EDC and replace her with Jonathan Porter.
Wait.
No.
Gotta wait.
Yeah, let's accept her resignation.
Okay, we'll just accept the resignation then.
Got a motion and second.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Roger. Any further discussion? There's none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item 3, discuss and act upon replacing board and committee members, commission members.
Okay, so
We have some applications.
Yeah.
We have,
Well, let's go get to the discussion, then also policies are.
okay, so go ahead and make a motion.
No.
No.
Yeah, you can, or we can discuss it afterwards. That's one there, and this is a live, but. Had 2 others that didn't. Where's in?
I don't have duplicate copies, so you might have to send them down this way.
EDC.
On the email I sent, there were 2 more names.
Yeah.
And I don't know either one of them.
One of them's new.
The new one did the application online today. I just haven't received it yet.
there a spot on?
The other one is out of town.
That one was for.
Won't be back until like,
Main zoning.
Okay.
yeah, we kind of looked into that.
Mhm.
Gee,
Oh, I don't remember which person that is. The husband and wife?
yes. Says applying for the hot tax committee.
Yeah,
EDC.
ABC and EDC.
Yep.
Is this just to replace the Ginger right now or just for other?
It's
Oh,
any
it's any,
members that you feel like you need to act on.
So will you entertain a motion?
not yet,
Not yet.
Let's let everybody review these.
Do we want to discuss first?
yes.
Okay, here's my thoughts. Here's the discussion. We need to replace Ginger because that spot's open. And then we by bylaw are supposed to have a council member that's on the EDC and appointed to the Lake Board. And we currently don't have that. And so those are the two spots I'd like to, whenever it's time, make a motion. Those are the two spots that I'd like to consider tonight.
And we have to apply to it. Application for that, the lady.
No, it's the same,
It's a council member.
Okay.
that's a council member that has to be on board.
Yes, you want to see those? Okay.
I guess, Joe, you wanna come up and? I don't care, I mean, if anybody else on EDC wants to come up and talk too.
I'm basically, it's, council has the right to change
Right.
officers as, or board members as you please. I don't have any objection to my board now. We've worked well together, but I know y'all if you're gonna make changes, and if we're gonna make changes, I'd rather let's get the changes and done so we can start moving forward. Being in limbo sometimes might be harder than just keep waiting to let it happen. But You have any questions or anything about any of them? Let me just ask, or what else you want me to say?
Well, I had two meaningful conversations with two different EDC members on Friday, and both echoed that there's good cohesion, there's unity, things seem to be in a good spot right now. Do you agree, you concur?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, but like I said, we've spent a year building this, trying to build up our board. Because, unfortunately, a year ago plus, we had some problems. They made some changes, which kind of disrupted stuff. Took a while to get the board back where we're working together, but I would say that we work pretty well together now.
Currently, you have EDC training and Sherry has EDC training, is that?
Yes, out of the board that's there, that's who we have left, yes.
There's ex officio and he does. You have it, James?
You have your EDC class or your EDC class done. I'm sure you do. You probably had to have it years ago.
Yeah, I've been,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it.
Sherry's been.
Sherry's been, yeah.
Any other board members have been.
Sherry's in the class, I'm gonna call it the class of 20, let's call it, there's a class of 24 and a class of 25. In September it changes, so Sherry in that second class has it, but nobody in that.
No, Sherry's the only one right now that, other than me, that had it. But that's, because Zane had it and Zane and Sherry did it, and that, and then when Zane retired in February, that pushed us with back, and the others, have just now getting started. We've offered it. It's just time. You take the time. It's one of those things you have to go and get done.
I mean, it's a week-long class.
It's a week-long class, and it's not,
Takes a lot of time.
and it's not online. You have to go and get it done.
Where'd they hold the class?
Most of the time they hold them, somewhere, they bounce them around. Like the next one is in Fort Worth, Dallas area. And then the one after that, I think they've dropped back down to San Antonio. But they only offer it twice a year. That's what makes it hard. And they end up being offered at times when there's already other stuff going on.
Went to Sugar Land?
Yeah. But like you said, it moves around. It's not always the same place. They try to move it. They try to move it so that people around the state can attend, but they never seem to have one up here. It's always, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, Dallas, just like most of our classes like that.
Well, here's my one thing, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna make sure you guys hear this too, is that if we have a council member who goes to the meeting, they shouldn't be kicked out whenever y'all go into executive session. I don't understand.
We haven't-
why a council member was kicked out
I don't know.
twice.
Oh, because our charter says the only people in our exec are officers, our board members, and our two our three ex officios. Our charter says that's all that we can come into exec. Right. So that's why, I mean,
That's my thing is if a council member is there, they should be able to be in on that.
I'm not saying this was, when we read it, that's what we were said that they had to leave. And we made a mistake several months ago because, we had to back it up because even Christy was there and she's one of our ex officios. And again, someone said, oh, we had to leave, and then we had to look it up. I'm like, no, she's able to attend but she wasn't one of our board members, but she's ex officio. But our rules state that ex officios can attend our exec. So we've made that mistake, but we corrected it. As far as council, if you look at that, that's what it says. And we even brought that night if we needed to have them stay or not. So.
That's just my thing is because,
Get that, and I understand that.
yeah, because if the board answers to the council, and if there's a council member there, they should be able to sit in on that meeting and hear what's being said. I understand you want the ex officio, which we haven't put into place
Right.
yet.
But your mayor is your ex officio and hearing what is being said in that.
Right.
So during that exec, you don't have nobody listening because your mayor is your ex officio.
Right, and I get that he was there, but we had a council member that was there.
Yeah, Gary was our last two.
You're saying by
Charter.
Our bylaws specifically say who can say, because we had to look it up because that's when we asked Christie to leave. And then we're like, no, we had to look it up and we were specific, that's what it's there. I mean, now there are some drawbacks. I mean, we can turn around if the board wants someone to stay, they're invited to stay. Our last exam, it had to do with a land purchase, since that is their we're in executive because of that topic. They're allowed to stay to hear some of the discussion. But then, we ask them to leave when we finally get to, other discussions. But, they need to make their presentation because that's the whole thing of the exec. I'm not saying that that's something we can address. But again, that's in our bylaws that we need to address those bylaws fairly. We need to stay close to those bylaws.
We wouldn't have been in that situation.
Yeah, if we went ahead and put-
If we had a council member on, that probably wouldn't have happened because they're on the board member.
I just don't like
But I understand what you're expressing because it's,
the answers to the council, whenever you kick the council member out, it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Doesn't look right at all.
no, I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's just our bylaws are stating a certain thing. And
Isn't there a council member on there?
Because we haven't done it yet.
We haven't put a member on there.
that's your motion. You haven't presented yet, but that's part of it. Ginger was our council member. After our election, then when she resigned,
Was she on the lake board?
no, Dwayne was on our lake board.
So he was your council member.
Well, we had 3 council members.
Okay.
So then after elections, Ginger was the only one that was left, so she was still there. Okay, so we didn't switch Dwayne off. But Ginger was our representative from council to my board. And then when she resigned a week ago, but she had resigned your office earlier, and it's just taken, are we at a month now that we're,
It's like 3 years.
It feels like it, huh?
but that month is where we left that's, we didn't have someone representing council other than James.
Right. Which we gotta get done.
And that's where this is,
You're president now,
Sherry is president.
and then you go off next year in 25. Okay.
She would have just really renewed back in September. That's why she is 25. And the ones we had, some of them were new anyway. Zane carried over, which then when Zane left in February, he was replaced by Alfonso, which now Alfonso will carry until his end of term. Okay.
Any further discussion?
We just need to get somebody from the council to replace Ginger.
Well, but Ginger's Ginger's not on the lake board. We have to have somebody that's in that spot and on the lake board.
Well, so that's just the way it fell this time. So typically, council, one of the council people that's on our board is, we've elected them, but it's usually been a volunteer who want to be on lake board. But that's up to you and lake board.
The lake board.
The lake board,
Requires it to be an EDC.
so it's,
And a council member?
Yeah.
Okay.
and it was until Dwayne, and then all that changed after the reelection. So at this point, it depends on who you appoint, and are we appointing them to EDC as EDC rep, but then they'll also be
It'll be a lake board.
lake board rep, or you turn it over, which they did last time, to my EDC board to elect who would be the lake board rep.
So the position on the lake board actually says a person from EDC. It doesn't say that it has to be the council person on EDC. So, and Ginger would have probably, but that's what we do. On EDC board, we've
elected who fills those positions.
Who fills those positions in the different spots that are needed. So, Ginger probably would have been at some point, but she has resigned now. So but again, you guys have the control to put whoever you want there. And then, but as far as an EDC spot, we've always just elected that person in our board meeting, and they start going to those lake board meetings. So that's.
And sometimes
we didn't know it was a-
sometimes it's been more of a volunteer, like who wants to be a part.
So
But I
Zane-
don't remember. I didn't look.
And he wasn't on council. So
Yeah.
that's, if you look at all the bylaws and who's supposed to be sitting on those boards, it says an EDC representative. It doesn't say a council.
Yeah, I didn't know it had to be a
Okay.
council member on the lake board, it's just an EDC member. But I haven't read those bylaws either. I've read ours, but the lake board might have something. Yeah.
So what do the lake board bylaws say?
It is as an EDC member,
Doesn't have to be a council member.
but that's just the way it fell.
I guess let's do the first one as far as council member. I think that we should elect Gary Messer to be the council member on the EDC and Lake Board.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All yay?
Yeah.
Any opposed? There are none. Well. I won't kick you out anymore, Gary.
I got tired of coming out here crying.
You still have one position that's
Your
still
second,
open.
yeah,
I said, oh, the
no,
second
your second motion.
So then, I move that we put Jonathan Porter in Ginger's spot.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Now, this is probably the time to put discussion. I know we have a couple of spots that roll off in September, and my hope is that our council member will be able to come back and give us some guidance.
So can I interrupt here?
Yeah.
You just moved Gary
As the council member, yeah.
as the council member, which was Ginger's.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
So you understand? So I guess I need to understand how y'all, I just want to make sure y'all are clear as well as I am. So
We put him
as council and like.
council and lake board.
New spot. You only can do one motion at a time.
Yeah,
Guys are doing
well,
two.
that's the way they did. So
Well, there was a motion and a second.
But
And you
there should
voted,
only be
you
one
voted on it.
motion per agenda item. No,
this is.
No, it says discuss and act upon
Discuss.
replacing.
Oh, you can,
Yeah, commission
you
member.
can do as many motions you want agenda items as long as it's not two motions at the same time. Which we voted on Gary to be our council member. So was Gary replacing Ginger? Because Ginger was the one that was our council member. Or are we putting Gary on?
So then why would Ginger have to resign whenever she wasn't a council member anymore?
she didn't have to.
She didn't have to, but she did. So you understand, but she was our only remaining council member on the board. On my board that was still on council until she resigned from council, which then she resigned from the EDC, which left that opening. So the opening with her resigning, we have an opening which could be filled by a council member, or you could fill with somebody else.
So
Then
you didn't
you-
consider that Dwayne was a council member on
No,
Dwayne was a council member prior to him being,
and on the lake board.
and on the lake board, but he was council member prior to losing the election in May. After that, he wasn't the council member. So after May, our only council member was Ginger. As I said,
That's the problem whenever you have too many council members on boards,
yeah,
is that you end up with this problem.
I mean, I just want to make sure you know who you're replacing. Because if you replace somebody else, then you have to take someone else off.
Council can replace anybody.
Anybody you want.
So if that's
You can wipe the whole board if you want to start from scratch.
still your motion,
but included in the motion is who we are.
Okay, so what are you about to read?
Well, I'm not reading anything. I'm looking to the agenda. But the only thing I was gonna say is, I mean, Gary replacing Ginger, now you have to remove somebody and replace them if you want another person on it.
If you want to put Jonathan on,
Gotcha. So I thought I was replacing Dwayne with Gary as the council member. And you're saying,
Well, no, yeah, so
You gotta remove Dwayne.
you have to remove Dwayne because he hasn't been a council member since May.
yeah, my understanding coming into this is that the council member was the lake board member and that's,
There's,
Because then you have Frankie who's on there too, and he was a council member as well.
we had way too many council members on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
are y'all wanting to remove somebody? And put Jonathan there?
With Jonathan.
So here's what, okay, how about this? Let's do this. So let's clarify my motion. I'm moving to put Gary Messer on. In Ginger's spot.
We voted on that.
Yeah, we already voted.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
wanna
nothing's
be
already in there.
clarified.
I mean,
You want to be? the
No.
clarify?
no.
Well, you did.
That's already
You had a
done. I mean,
motion
that
to-
one's already
To
done.
replace was, Gary is coming on the board, on my board as council and board and lake board.
Right.
Now, is that replacing Ginger or just you're replacing Dwayne? Or then are you gonna put somebody else as,
We're not putting more than one council member on.
Right.
But that's just, no, we're not doing this.
So your motion can stand as.
Yeah, our motion stands as is with Messer. It's just now,
The one with Jonathan Porter needs to be a motion to put him in place.
replace somebody
Whatever you want.
who took off?
Well, if.
So who comes off?
Well, the motion replaced Dwayne.
who comes off in 24? Who comes off in September?
There's three of them.
Do you have it? Who comes off in September? Okay.
Yeah, I can go get it.
Right here, it says Camilla on the 24th of September.
Cause he looked at his document.
And Alfonso,
No, Alfonso won't be until 25.
it says 24 here.
It should be 24.
It
It says 24 right here. and it's-
Replace Dane.
Even says.
But Zane was reelected the same time you were.
Has Sherry on 24?
Yeah, September.
Mine's 25.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mine's 25.
That's right here, 24.
Mine just renewed this past September. So mine's 25.
Should be Camilla, Frankie,
Camilla,
Dwayne.
oh, Dwayne's 25. So I'm looking at right here. It says,
Well, and that's my document,
okay.
but that is the information that I had given to me.
It has Frankie Scott on here.
Yeah, Frankie Scott.
Says his term expired on the 2023, September
So
2023.
see that.
He didn't because they renewed him.
He renewed.
So are you ready for a motion?
Okay,
Oh, man.
is your motion still to replace Dwayne?
I'll withdraw my motion on this second one and let Gary figure this out.
Okay,
Okay. And we're through with East Ginger spot.
I'm replacing Ginger.
I move to remove Dwayne and replace Dwayne's spot with Jonathan Porter.
I'll
The
second.
EDC board and Lake Board.
okay, we have a motion.
It wouldn't be the Lake
I'll
Board.
second.
Okay, whatever.
They have to pick the lake board.
They pick the
It wouldn't
Lake
be the
Board.
Lake Board.
Okay. The EDC board.
So it's just EDC.
Okay, let's rephrase your motion one more time.
I move to remove Dwayne from the EDC board and replace him with Jonathan Porter.
Okay. We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Okay. Now,
I know.
we still have Ginger.
No,
No, Ginger is Gary.
Yours, huh?
Ginger.
Okay.
Ginger's
okay.
done.
Okay. I'm confused here.
I
So
guess so.
we got two spots to change.
can we-
Are there any further?
I don't know if it goes you or Sherry. If y'all can get the list of people and when they come off, Christie
If
would
you
be
get-
awesome.
Not right now.
Yeah, not right now, Joe. No, I'm just saying, if y'all can get that,
I'm gonna update their list.
Christie, that way we can see it. Just kind of look at it and see
Right.
who's going up in September. That way we know exactly who's coming off and how many spots we need to put in.
Not a problem.
That would be awesome.
Okay, we'll clarify everybody's terms.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to item 4, unless there's any further members I want to discuss.
So we had an application for a hot tax. Is there a hot tax spot open?
There's always a hot tax spot because nobody ever shows up.
So I mean, is there an actual spot or is there,
There's an alternate that hasn't shown in 8 months since I've
okay, who was that?
And she wants to be on there.
been. Nyack, I don't know how to say his last name, Nyack.
So he hasn't been there in 8 months.
Lee Nyack.
Yeah, Lee Knight.
Yeah, he's a hotel owner. He never shows up.
He never shows up.
I make a motion, we There was a lady there that wants to be. in-
Madison.
I'll second it.
Who made,
I did.
And Roger seconded. There any further discussion? All yay?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. So Madison Porter to the hot tax. Any further board or?
There was, when there one for planning and zoning?
I thought there.
Yeah, there is.
Who was, I didn't see that one.
Was the,
One planning and zoning.
that one, David Schmidt.
and that was a while back.
I don't know him.
Not what's a while. What do you
Remember
mean?
Ty when it was on the agenda?
Oh, and it got kicked off. That's right. Do y'all remember that?
I put it as an agenda.
No. It was, what, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? 3 months ago, it was put on the agenda and it got kicked off. It was brought up during council meeting and then it was passed over.
Anybody know him?
I do not.
I just saw we had applied.
And planning and zoning is a little bit different. So
Or if I do know him, I'm not thinking of who he is.
in reading the charter, it's a little bit different.
Let's get in touch
If you're
with him.
gonna remove them, you're gonna have to have a reason why.
Okay. And there's not any spots open right now?
I don't believe so. Is there planning and zoning, there's an open spot? Okay. I don't know the man.
Should we bring him in and interview him, or? I mean, nobody knows him.
If that's what you wanna try to do.
If you have volunteers.
I know, I was about to say, if the man's willing to volunteer for something, then, he's a good man in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're not as old as me. That doesn't always work
Well,
out.
that's true too. If it's for planning and zoning, he's a better than man than me.
That's true.
Planning and zoning, I wouldn't wish on any of you, so.
Do I hear a motion?
So I make a motion that we accept, David Schmidt for, planning and zoning.
I'll say here a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all yay, all opposed? There are none. Any further board? We'll move on to item 4. You wanna fill us in here?
So, I received this. I gotta look real quick. This is just to have the West Texas utility, increase. It's gonna happen, but what this does is it pushes it back 45 days. So instead of. it
Get this from the rate attorney? Okay.
It was from their,
What was the name?
Uh,
Can go look.
it's all right.
but it did come from them.
Probably the phone number I
Yes,
got.
and this is sort of like a normal thing for cities to delay it for 45
Yes, it
days,
is.
as you know.
Let's just delay it for a year and a half. And then
Yeah.
by then it'll be better, and then-
Years, let's just.
Yeah, maybe it's
years.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because they're gonna implement it anyway, but delays it a little while.
So they're either mad in June or mad in August.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the resolution 2024-07 suspending for 45 days the effective date proposed by West Texas Gas Utility LLC from July 16 to 2024 to August 30th, 2024.
Second.
Do I have a second? Got a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, we already have a second.
Okay.
Okay. They beat you to it.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here are none. Okay, number 5, discuss and act upon interlocal agreement on utility installation with Dalhart ISD. I didn't get these numbers till late today from the superintendent. Sent them to everybody. I think he even a copy.
Okay.
If you'll look at those numbers. We did this several years ago the same way. I can't even get my thing to work.
Big number.
You want me to read it? So it is, an additional fire line is 7,177, an additional on-site domestic water, 4,344. A 12-inch water main extension for the material only is 90,747. And the 12-inch water main extension, labor and equipment was 72,000.
And what I'm proposing, they were told there was a 12-inch water line on Spirit Trail. And that's where they designed this, and so they keep the water line on the school right of ways and the city's right of way down to that location and stuff for our future development. What I'd like to recommend to this council is that we pay for the materials and let them pay for all the installation of everything.
And we would oversee.
And it'll take a budget amendment as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount would be 90,747.
We wouldn't have to do the additional fire line or the. I'm sorry.
All that would come off of that 12-inch
So
line.
just, okay,
Yeah, and then the rest of it would be down to the 33 acres
okay.
that we have for development.
This is just for supplies, right?
It's for the materials only.
Materials.
It's a 12-inch. Main
Will
extension.
the city be responsible for the upkeep of that, any leaks on that line? All right, will that be?
So once it's installed, it'll be ours.
Right,
Yeah,
Either way, yeah.
not the 1 year and then it becomes ours,
right. Just standard installation of that.
right?
So total cost is 174,000. Like I said, that is materials is 90,747.
Pretty much we'll just be splitting it with them.
And it'll take a budget amendment as well.
Yeah, we have another project that we're working on that may not come into this year, so we may be able to offset that somewhat.
Okay, we get it.
I mean, there's plans to go down that way anyway.
Yeah. It just, it gets him to
Kind of a
pay,
no-brainer, you know?
it gets him to pay half of it to go
Yeah.
down there. Like I said, all of that on 281, we did the same way. It was a 12-inch water line as well.
And as things grow that way, we'll be able to utilize that line for other things. I mean, it will.
Yeah. It's ours once it's in.
Okay. So it helps in the future.
Mhm. Yeah, because we don't have any right of ways for them to get across there. That's still owned by somebody else. So it would come off the school right away and then down City Street right away. And then they bore the road and get it to the other side. Make all their tie-ins, but all that would be at their expense.
Motion.
I move to allow the school to put in this water line with the city providing the materials.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? There are none.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
Just to let you know that we are